Hello lawn mowing people. Now what I'm going to talk about today is spring. It's the busiest time of year for a lawn mowing business. The grass starts growing and you get all those wet September days, so it gets hard to keep on top of them. And it seems like everything's happening at once. And here in the Waikato it goes really mad. Before I mowed lawns here I was on the Hibiscus coast, and although the terrain was more suited to goats here because it was kind of like that, uh, the grass was manageable in spring. And I remember the first spring that I was in Hamilton and I seriously thought something was wrong. In my decade or so of mowing lawns up till then, I had never seen grass grow so fast. And I thought it must have been the humidity and it must have been just something that happened that year. But the following year, it happened again. So now I know why the Waikato was full of farms. Try saying that 3 times fast. All the grass must keep the cattle pretty happy, I reckon. So anyway, it didn't take long for me to figure out that I needed to plan if I wanted to keep on top of spring growth. So my spring growth management starts when I do the quote. And when I quote on a lawn, I always mention that I do a fortnightly mow when spring starts. So basically for us, spring starts in September. So I say from the 1st of September, I'm going to be cutting your lawns every 2 weeks. I'll even tell them this in the middle of winter, so they know that in September this is what happens. If a customer tells me that they're thinking about getting 4 weekly mow during spring or something, then I'll pick it up there and then. And if there's any issues with the cut cycle, I like to know when I do the quote so I can address it then and there, because I want everybody to be on a fortnightly cycle when spring starts, no ifs or buts. Then once I've got everybody on a fortnightly cycle, you might start wondering, how long does this last and what happens if there's a drought in the summer? Now that is a good question. The secret is to put the customer in charge of the cut cycle. So what you do is you tell them that you don't decide whether their lawn needs mowing or doesn't need mowing. And you don't make this decision when you arrive. In fact, you don't make this decision at all because you don't know what they want. Two people may be looking at the same lawn and one person may think it's long and the other may think it's short. It depends on the customer. Therefore, you tell them you don't make this decision for the customer. If they feel that their lawns don't need mowing any time after spring's happened, then what they need to do is they need to text you and let you know the night before you turn up. Now the customer's in charge, or are they? You've just used a technique that's done in sales and it's called the path of least resistance. Have you ever signed up for something and you signed up for a monthly subscription and it just keeps on coming out month after month, and you think to yourself, I must cancel that because I'm not really using it or whatever, and you just don't get round to doing it? That is the path of least resistance in action. It's easier for a customer not to phone or text you than it is for them to phone or text you. So you'll find that you'll get a lot less people changing the cycle. We have about 70 to 80% of our lawns stay 2 weekly all year round. It's at the end of the day, it's much easier for the customer to do nothing than it is to do something. Just a bit of food for thought for you, and I hope this makes your spring planning a little bit better. And meanwhile, get out there, mow lawns, have fun, and happy lawn mowing, people.